Imagine holding something so ordinary that you sprinkle it on your dinner without a second thought. Now, imagine that same substance once being so valuable that kingdoms fought to control it. Merchants crossed dangerous deserts for it, and entire economies depended on its trade. That substance was salt. Welcome to Everyday Origins, where ordinary things reveal extraordinary stories. Every object we use, every food we eat, and every habit we take for granted has a hidden past waiting to be discovered. Together, we'll travel across centuries to uncover the surprising origins that shaped our world, one story at a time. Long before refrigerators, supermarkets, or modern transportation, salt was far more than a seasoning. It preserved food, sustained armies, enabled long-distance travel, and helped civilizations survive through harsh winters and long voyages. Without it, many societies simply could not have grown. Today, salt is one of the cheapest items in a grocery store. Yet, thousands of years ago, it could be worth more than gold in places where it was scarce. This is the remarkable story of how an everyday mineral quietly shaped the rise of civilizations and changed the course of human history. Salt is so common today that most people never stop to think about it. A simple shaker sits quietly on nearly every dining table. Yet, for most of human history, finding enough salt was not easy. In many places, it was one of the rarest and most valuable resources a family could possess. Unlike gold or silver, salt could not be worn as jewelry or displayed as a symbol of wealth. Its value came from something far more important. It helped people survive. Without salt, preserving food for weeks or even months was nearly impossible, especially before the invention of refrigeration. This humble mineral became the invisible foundation of daily life. It protected food from spoiling, supported growing populations, and allowed communities to endure long winters and difficult journeys. Before it became an everyday seasoning, salt was one of humanity's greatest necessities. To understand why salt became so valuable, we must imagine a world without electricity. There were no refrigerators, no freezers, and no refrigerated trucks. Fresh meat, fish, and dairy products spoiled within days, sometimes within hours, especially during the heat of summer. For ancient families, losing food meant more than missing a meal. It could mean starvation during winter or famine after a poor harvest. Every successful civilization needed a reliable way to preserve food long enough to survive changing seasons and long journeys. Among all the preservation methods people discovered, none proved as effective and dependable as salt. By drawing moisture from food and slowing the growth of harmful bacteria, this simple mineral became one of humanity's greatest tools for survival, long before modern science understood why it worked. As villages grew into towns and towns became cities, the demand for preserved food increased dramatically. Hunters, fishermen, traders, and farmers all faced the same challenge. How could food remain safe to eat long after it had been harvested or caught? Salt provided the answer. By preserving meat, fish, and other foods, it made long-distance travel possible, supplied armies on campaign, and allowed merchants to transport provisions across mountains, rivers, and deserts. Without salt, many of history's greatest journeys might never have happened. What began as a simple method of food preservation soon transformed into something much greater. Salt became the foundation of trade, exploration, and survival, quietly connecting distant civilizations through one of the world's earliest and most valuable commodities. As the demand for salt continued to grow, one question became more important than ever. Where could people find enough of it? Unlike grain or livestock, salt could not simply be planted or raised. Nature had hidden it in only a few special places across the world. Some communities gathered salt from evaporating seawater along sunny coastlines. Others dug deep beneath the earth, extracting massive deposits that had formed millions of years earlier. Every source of salt became a treasure, attracting merchants, rulers, and ambitious conquerors alike. Whoever controlled these precious sources controlled something every family needed to survive. Salt was no longer just food preservation. It had become power. And in the centuries ahead, that power would shape kingdoms, fortunes, and the map of the world itself. Among all the places where salt was found, none were more extraordinary than the great underground salt mines. Hidden beneath mountains and valleys, vast layers of ancient salt had formed millions of years before humans ever walked the earth, waiting to be discovered. Mining salt was dangerous work. Men descended deep into dark tunnels, carved through solid rock, carrying only simple tools and flickering oil lamps. Every basket they lifted from the earth represented a treasure that could feed families, supply armies, and enrich entire kingdoms. Some of these mines became so productive that towns and cities grew around them. Wealth flowed from beneath the ground, attracting merchants, craftsmen, nobles, and rulers. A single salt mine could transform an isolated village into one of the richest places in the region. Once salt was mined, another challenge began. It had to reach the people who depended on it. From isolated mines and coastal salt fields, merchants organized long caravans carrying one of the world's most precious commodities across mountains, forests, deserts, and rivers. The journey was slow and dangerous. Bandits, harsh weather, rough terrain, and political conflicts threatened every shipment. Yet the profits were so great that traders willingly accepted the risks, knowing a successful journey could change their fortunes forever. These routes gradually became known as the Salt Roads. More than trade paths, they connected distant cultures, spread ideas, encouraged new settlements, and laid the foundations for future cities. Wherever salt traveled, civilization often followed close behind. As salt caravans crossed continents, villages along their routes began to change. What started as simple resting places for travelers slowly grew into busy trading centers. Inns, markets, workshops, and warehouses appeared wherever merchants stopped to buy, sell, or exchange valuable goods. Salt rarely traveled alone. Alongside it came spices, silk, metals, pottery, fabrics, tools, and new ideas. Every journey connected people from different cultures, turning isolated communities into thriving crossroads of commerce and communication. Over time, many of these trading settlements became prosperous towns and eventually great cities. Roads built to transport salt helped shape the economic map of entire regions. A simple mineral had quietly become the foundation of urban growth and international trade. As salt became more valuable, rulers quickly realized that controlling its trade meant controlling wealth itself. Whoever owned the salt mines, the production sites, and the trade routes held enormous influence over entire regions. Salt was becoming far more than a simple mineral. Kings and emperors built fortresses to protect salt deposits, stationed soldiers along major trade roads, and enforced strict laws over its distribution. Every shipment of salt represented income, political power, and the ability to feed both citizens and armies. Before long, salt had become a strategic resource. Kingdoms competed to secure reliable supplies, knowing that losing access could weaken their economy and threaten their survival. In many parts of the world, controlling salt meant controlling the future. As rulers strengthened their control over salt, they discovered an even greater source of wealth. Instead of simply protecting its trade, many governments began taxing it. Every sack of salt that entered a town or crossed a border became another opportunity to collect revenue. For ordinary families, these taxes made an essential resource far more expensive. People could live without luxury goods, but they could not live without salt. Every meal, every preserved harvest, and every winter supply depended on it, making the tax almost impossible to avoid. Over time, salt taxes filled royal treasuries with enormous wealth. Yet they also created growing frustration among the people. What had once been nature's gift was becoming a symbol of government control, setting the stage for conflicts that would echo through history. In some parts of the ancient world, salt became so valuable that it was accepted as a form of payment. Rather than exchanging gold or silver, workers and soldiers could receive salt for their service. A resource essential for survival naturally became a trusted measure of value. One of the most famous examples comes from ancient Rome. Although historians continue to debate the details, salt was closely connected to military compensation. The Latin word salarium, associated with payments to Roman soldiers, eventually gave rise to the English word salary, still used today. Whether paid directly in salt or through money intended to purchase it, the connection left a lasting mark on history. Even today, every time someone receives a salary, the language quietly preserves the memory of a mineral that once held extraordinary importance. As centuries passed, salt was no longer just a valuable commodity. It had become a symbol of authority. Whoever controlled the salt supply could influence markets, collect taxes, reward allies, and weaken rivals. A simple mineral had quietly become an instrument of political power. Powerful kingdoms fiercely protected their salt mines and trade routes. Fortresses guarded production sites, soldiers patrolled major roads, and strict laws punished anyone who tried to smuggle or sell salt outside royal control. Every grain represented wealth flowing into the crown. By now, salt had helped build prosperous cities, strengthened kingdoms, and create vast trading networks. But history was about to reveal another side of this remarkable mineral. The same salt that enriched rulers would soon ignite protests, rebellions, and struggles for freedom across the world. Where great wealth existed, conflict was never far behind. As salt became one of the most profitable resources in history, kingdoms no longer competed only through trade. They began fighting to seize salt mines, control production, and dominate the roads that carried this priceless mineral. A single salt mine could feed armies, finance governments, and strengthen entire economies. Losing one could cripple a kingdom. For ambitious rulers, capturing an enemy's salt supply was often just as important as capturing its capital city. Throughout history, battles were fought not only for land or gold, but also for access to salt. This ordinary white crystal had become a strategic weapon, one capable of deciding victories, shaping borders, and changing the destiny of nations. To protect their precious salt supplies, rulers invested heavily in roads unlike any built before. These routes crossed mountains, forests, rivers, and valleys, linking distant mines to thriving markets. They became the arteries through which wealth flowed across entire kingdoms. Thousands of merchants, pilgrims, craftsmen, and travelers followed these same roads. Along the way, they carried not only salt, but also languages, inventions, beliefs, and traditions. Every journey transformed the road into something greater than a trade route. Historians now recognize these routes as some of the earliest economic highways in human civilization. Long before modern highways or railroads, the salt roads connected distant societies, proving that one simple mineral could unite cultures across continents. the influence of salt eventually reached beyond medieval Europe. Across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, powerful civilizations built entire economies around its production and trade. Though separated by thousands of miles, they all understood one universal truth: salt meant survival. In the vast Sahara Desert, enormous camel caravans carried blocks of salt across endless dunes for weeks at a time. Some caravans stretched for miles, transporting a resource so precious that, in certain regions, it was exchanged weight for weight with gold. Whether crossing frozen mountains, fertile valleys, or scorching deserts, the story remained remarkably similar. Salt connected distant worlds through trade, culture, and necessity. It became one of history's first truly global commodities, long before the modern age of international commerce. As trade expanded across continents, control of salt became a matter of imperial ambition. Great empires understood that whoever secured reliable supplies could feed larger populations, sustain longer military campaigns, and strengthen their influence over neighboring lands. From the Roman Empire to imperial China and powerful African kingdoms, governments invested enormous resources to protect salt production. Fortified mines, guarded warehouses, and carefully monitored trade routes became essential parts of state power and economic stability. Salt was no longer simply a commodity bought and sold in marketplaces. It had become a strategic resource that helped shape the rise of empires. Across the ancient world, the strength of a civilization often depended on its ability to secure this humble white crystal. As governments tightened their control over salt, ordinary people began to feel the burden. Heavy taxes made this essential mineral increasingly expensive, forcing many families to spend a large portion of their income simply to preserve food and survive another season. For wealthy nobles, the rising cost of salt was little more than an inconvenience, but for farmers, fishermen, and laborers, it could mean the difference between storing enough food for winter or facing hunger. A tax on salt was, in many ways, a tax on survival itself. Resentment quietly spread across villages and cities. What had once symbolized prosperity was now becoming a reminder of inequality. In the years ahead, growing frustration over salt would spark protests, resistance, and some of history's most influential movements. As resentment grew, people began searching for ways to resist unfair control. Smugglers secretly carried untaxed salt through forests, mountains, and hidden paths, risking imprisonment or even death to provide affordable salt for ordinary families. Governments responded with stricter laws, more guards, and harsher punishments. Border checkpoints multiplied, patrols increased, and entire communities were watched for illegal trade. The struggle over salt had become a battle between authority and survival. Across different countries and centuries, the story repeated itself. Whenever essential resources became too tightly controlled, resistance followed. Salt was no longer just a commodity. It had become a powerful symbol of justice, freedom, and the rights of ordinary people. One of the most famous struggles over salt unfolded centuries later in British-ruled India. The colonial government placed strict taxes on salt, making it illegal for ordinary people to produce or collect their own, even though it came naturally from the sea. In 1930, Mahatma Gandhi chose salt as the symbol of peaceful resistance. He led thousands of followers on a remarkable 240-mile journey to the Arabian Sea, where he gathered a handful of natural salt in defiance of British law. That simple act echoed around the world. It inspired millions, attracted international attention, and became one of history's most powerful demonstrations that even the smallest everyday object could challenge an empire and change the course of a nation. By the 20th century, the age of salt empires was coming to an end. Advances in industry, transportation, and refrigeration transformed the way people stored and distributed food. Salt remained important, but it was no longer the rare treasure that once shaped the fate of kingdoms. Mass production made salt inexpensive and widely available. Modern factories, improved mining techniques, and efficient global shipping placed this once prized mineral within reach of nearly every household. What had once been a luxury gradually became an everyday necessity. Yet the story of salt was far from over. Although its price had fallen, its legacy remained everywhere. From the languages we speak and the cities that grew along ancient trade routes, to the freedoms won by those who dared challenge unjust laws, the simplest things often leave the greatest mark on history. The Industrial Revolution changed the story of salt forever. Steam engines, mechanized mining, and modern transportation dramatically increased production. What once required dangerous manual labor could now be extracted faster, farther, and in quantities never before imagined. Railroads connected remote salt mines with growing cities, while steamships carried millions of tons across oceans. For the first time in history, salt was no longer limited by geography. It became a truly global commodity, available on an unprecedented scale. As supply expanded, prices steadily declined. The mineral that had once enriched kings and sparked wars slowly became affordable for ordinary households everywhere. A remarkable chapter of human history was quietly coming to a close. Today, a container of salt costs only a few dollars, or even less. It sits quietly on kitchen shelves around the world, so ordinary that few people ever stop to wonder how extraordinary its history truly is. For thousands of years, this tiny white crystal preserved food, connected civilizations, financed kingdoms, inspired exploration, sparked wars, and even fueled movements for freedom. Few everyday objects have influenced human history on such a remarkable scale. The next time you sprinkle salt onto your meal, remember that you are holding more than a simple seasoning. You are holding a silent witness to humanity's greatest journeys, greatest struggles, and greatest achievements. A story hidden in plain sight. Every civilization leaves behind monuments, artifacts, and legends. Yet some of history's greatest influences are far smaller than castles or empires. Sometimes they fit quietly inside the palm of your hand. Salt reminds us that history is not only written by kings, armies, or great inventions. It is also shaped by the ordinary things people rely on every single day. Objects so familiar that we often forget to ask where they came from. The next time you sit down for a meal, take a moment to look at the salt on your table. Behind those tiny white crystals lies a story of survival, exploration, trade, power, and freedom spanning thousands of years. And this is only one chapter. Every ordinary object around us has an extraordinary past waiting to be uncovered. The everyday world is filled with hidden stories that continue to shape our lives in ways we rarely notice. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden history of salt, subscribe to Everyday Origins and join us for the next journey into the surprising origins of the objects, foods, and traditions that have quietly changed the world.